cousins. But let me just start off by saying to you, guys, real talk, for real, this is becoming a man, right? B.A.M. Why do y'all think y'all are here on the Saturday that you come?
Help us understand the transformation from little kids to man.
Okay, all right. What do you think? Okay, but what does that mean, though?
Teach us.
That's what you think? How to become a man? All right, but what does becoming a man mean? Like, what are y'all, you're probably like, what, 14, 15-ish? That range, 13? 13? 12. So it's a long way between 12, 13-ish to my age, which is 53, my father's age, which is 83. So there's a lot of steps along the way, right? So in this program, when everyone's here, about how many people are here? How many guys?
7. About
Yeah,
7, 8.
About 7 guys, all right. The reason I asked you guys those questions is, and we hadn't planned this, I hadn't talked to my father, but what he talked about, where he dropped off, where he stopped, and where I'm picking up, is gonna be a perfect, like, congruent, symbiotic, all those SAT words, relationship, because what you guys have to understand is where my father has been, I'm trying to go, and where I've been, you guys are trying to go. Do you understand what that means? What do you think I mean when I say that? So where my father has been, I still have to go, and where I have been, you have to go. Right, so it's a generational thing, right? So my father has already been a young boy, a young man, an adult, and now he's, a more established, what they call a senior citizen in our society. I've already been through being a young boy, being a young man, and now I'm in what's called midlife. But I still have a long way to go. What you young men need to understand is that life is not a game. Now, I'm not gonna stand up here and try to scare you, but after listening to my father, after listening to me, you should be scared. You should be running for your life, literally and metaphorically, right? This is not about racism or anything about like that. No one is quote unquote gonna hold you back, but I want you to understand this. Most people aren't gonna care about you at all, period, full stop, end the story. They don't care. So that's why I asked you why you thought you were here. These men who are here every Saturday, what pastors put into this program or what have you, this stuff is not free. Just a little chips, a little water, keeping the lights on this facility. None of this stuff is free. And you need to look around you as an African-American man. Out of this facility here, when Pastor bought this land, white folks was laughing at it. Because it wouldn't perk, what they call it. Bottom line, you couldn't build anything out here. He had a vision with this field of having this empowerment center. How many white churches, let alone black churches, you see an empowerment center like this built out in the middle of a farm, is what it boils down to. That church, he built and added on to it. So my father was telling us, so you'll understand this, back in that era of 40 acres and a mule, right after slavery, what they gave our ancestors for everything that they had done, for all the people that had died, from going to Africa and voluntolding them, you know the word volunteer, but they were voluntold, you could come over here and work out here in this agrarian society, a la cotton and tobacco and all of that. So they gave us 40 acres of land and a mule. Have you heard that before? 40 acres of mule? You know who Spike Lee is? Spike Lee, he, what's the most recent movie Spike Lee did that you guys might know? You ever seen the movie called The Inside Man or Malcolm X? You know the movie Malcolm X? You haven't heard about Malcolm X? How about Do the Right Thing, School Days, any of those movies? You familiar with any of those? Well, Spike Lee is a very well-known black director. He named his production company 40 Acres and a Mule. And he named it that to give homage to what black people were given after slavery. So now, 40 acres and a mule. 40 acres and a mule was a lot to people who never had anything back then. But you know what most of those black people did when they got that 40 acres and a mule? What do you think they did with it?
Sold it.
Promptly went right out to the same people who had persecuted and enslaved them and sold it. Now you're probably saying, Almer, what's this got to do with me? Why is this relevant to me? I'm a young man, all this type of stuff. Because what I'm trying to tell y'all is if you don't learn your history, you're destined to relive it and make the same mistakes. So don't y'all look at me when I say this right now, and you go and tell your parents, man, that Almer was being negative on some black people. You can tell them what you want. They were dumb. They were ignorant. Ignorant is not a bad word. Ignorance means a lack of knowledge. And see, that's where we are right now. We're consumers. I got mine. Yeah, you check it out. My Nikes. Yep, they fly. I got my gold chain on. Yep, I let it hang low or whatever with my basketball emblem. I'm checking y'all out. You're wearing your Nike gear and all that. Black folks are consumers. You know what consumers mean?
They take up the stuff.
They buy stuff. We consume, like eat. You're consumers. You want to dress fly. You want to wear all the fly gear and do all that type of stuff. But we ain't got nothing. So let me prove the fact to you. Let me prove the fact right now. Let me prove this fact to you. Tell me right now how many people you know. So you know Spike Lee. So I'm gonna come to you. I'm gonna find you now. Tell me how many of y'all right now know somebody who's got as much money as Drake. In Little Washington, Williamson, wherever y'all from. Some of y'all sweating Drake. We love Drake. Drake's the man. How many black folks you know that's got money like Drake? Okay, Drake ain't really from the States. He from Canada. Let's move to J. Cole. J. Cole right down the street. Fayetteville. How many black people you know who got money and stuff like J. Cole? Okay, we don't know J. Cole. How about the baby? The baby right from Charlotte.
Just got your bottle of water you will call.
All right? How many people y'all know got money like that? But yet, y'all rolling around here, right? Oh yeah, oh the baby hot. Oh, it is a young boy. Yeah, they hot. Drake and all that. Meanwhile, let me ask you this. How many of y'all in the short time you've been in school, got put out of school or got put in school suspension? Raise your hand.
In school, so like ISS.
Yeah, and we used to call it the Ice House. In school suspension, or kicked out of school, put off the bus, got demerits. How many of y'all? Only you? You the only one? Okay, so you 1 out of 30. Let me ask you this. How many of you have friends who got put off the bus, got put in school suspension or whatever? Right there, I'm glad. I was gonna turn the camera to you and raise your hand. Let me tell you something right there. You hanging with the wrong people. I'll tell you that right now. Now, you might think I don't know what I'm talking about, but let me illustrate something for you. Now, I did this wrong last time. Which one of these markers, can I erase this? Or put some over here?
Yeah.
Is this marker good to write?
Yeah, this would be a dry mark.
Okay. How many of y'all, let me say something right now. If I told you guys right now, I gave you a job that was making $100,000 a year, would you take that job? Would you take it? Would you think it's a good job? Okay, so somebody tell me how you write $100,000. What does it look like?
The money sign.
Okay.
1, 0, 0, comma, 0, 0, 0.
All right, good. Y'all should know that. Because my man back in the day, he had that song I got, comma, comma, comma. You remember that cat? He had that song called I Got Commas and Commas. You don't remember him? He done played out too? You don't remember? He's like, yeah, I kind of know who he's talking about, whatever. Okay, so that's $100,000. We heard my father talk about back in the day, a car was $3,100, then it went to $7,600, then it went to $12,000. Now I can tell him I got a truck that's out there after he got his truck, and I can tell you right now, it's $55,000 and up for the truck. So now we talking about Drake, we talking about all these other people, we talking about all these stars, we talking about these guys that's going around. Let me hit you to another game right now too. Let me tell you the difference about having money and looking like you got money. And y'all want to peep this, you want to understand because you're young men, and stop playing. School ain't for you. Them teachers, white, black, brown, whatever, they don't care. Come to school, act crazy. Get put out. You one less person to deal with. But I'm going to tell you this. Let me ask you this. So we got $100,000. We got that. how many of y'all want a big house when you get older? And I said, okay, how many bedrooms you want in the house? 4 bedrooms? How many bathrooms? 3, okay. And you want brick? You want 2 stories or 1 story? 2 stories, okay. Tell you all this stuff. This is your assignment. And this is real talk. And when I see you again, I want to see it. I want you to go home. I want you to write down how much money you want to make, what kind of car you want to drive, what kind of house you want, what size and everything. Okay? I'm going to come back and I'm going to tell you why. How about your girls? How many of you want a fly girl? If they still say fly now or dope or banger, whatever y'all call them right now, whatever. How many of y'all want a good looking woman on your arm when you get married? You don't want to, you want to, okay. So what do you want to look like? You want long hair or short hair? Light skin, dark skin? Athletic build, or you want to look like Megan Thee Stallion?
Athletic.
Okay, athletic. All right. Let me tell you why, man. You probably be like, man, he's talking about the money. He's talking about the home. He's talking about the wife. Let me tell you why this is all important right now, and this is real. You're not gonna get no job making $100,000 a year if you get put out of middle school.
No.
You ain't trying to go to high school. You think it's cool to show up at school to see how quick you can get put out. Because that's a coward. I'll tell you that right now. You tell any of your friends out here, that's a coward. You know what it is? Because they ain't smart enough to do the work. So what they want to do is come in, I don't care about being here anyway. Just don't mean nothing to me, because you a dummy. Let me tell you why you a dummy. Because you're not going to make this kind of money, and let alone, you're not going to make half of that. You're going to not make half of that, because who's going to hire you? The same people that you're disrespecting now at school. What do you think it's going to be when you go to work? Oh, when you graduate from high school, you're going to go in the job and you're going to tell the people, I'm going to do what I want to do. Is that what's going to happen? I'm going to show up when I want to show up. Is that what you're going to do? So why would we go into high school and middle school and do those same things? So let me ask y'all, let me turn it back to you all and ask you, these friends that you're hanging out with, why are they coming to school clowning? And you've been asking a lot of questions. Somebody asked you, why your friends come to school clowning?
They don't get in trouble about that.
They got put out there.
They didn't get put out of school.
They got put in the ice house? Because I asked you before, you said somebody got put in the ice house, in school suspension. Okay, so what did they put in school suspension for?
I wasn't in that class.
You don't know. You don't know rumors? Okay, when you raise your hand, what your friend get put in school or get put out for, whatever it was?
He got called on his phone.
So you know what was supposed to happen on the phone. What about your friend?
Just disrespectful to the teachers.
Disrespectful. Oh my God. Wow. So, okay, now let's come and ask this question. Then why are they your friends? Now I'm gonna go back this direction and give you some time to get to your answer. Why is that your friend then? Why would you want to be friends with somebody who's disrespectful? Okay. Why would you want to hang out with somebody who's a rule breaker? Why would you want to hang out with somebody who got put out of school, but you cloaking for him? You already doing the whole thing. He don't really get in trouble like that. You co-signed it already. But yet you know what the man did. Exactly. Meaning, I asked you why the guy get put in school suspension. No, first you said he don't really get in trouble like that. Then I said why he get put in school suspension. I don't really know. I wasn't in the class. But you said he don't get in trouble like that. But he did something to get in school suspension. But you don't know what it is. It's your point. So let me tell you in life what this looks like. While y'all laughing, like real talk, let me tell you what this looks like. You end up being birds of a feather flock together by hanging out with somebody who's doing disrespectful, inappropriate stuff. So when they get in trouble for molesting a girl or supposedly doing something they're not supposed to with the girl, this could be like me. And what's your name again?
Jaden.
Okay, Jaden. So let's say his name is Steve. It was Steve, Johnny, and Jaden hang around them. So now you guilty by association. Like the old folks say, birds of a feather flock together. Old folks say you lay down with dogs, you can get fleas. That's your friends you hang out with. Now your friends here, they breaking the rule. I ain't worried about that, man, whatever. Oh yeah, they said I ain't got to drive, we drive 60 miles an hour, whatever. I'm gonna drive 80. It don't really matter. They said we supposed to pay for the stuff. Ain't nobody looking at dog. Why don't you watch my back, man? You my man. Let me go put this in my pocket. I'm gonna break you off stuff and stuff. Now, you're burglarizing, you're stealing, and now you in jail. And all you know what you might be doing? Just like you looking right now, that same look on your face, you sitting out in the car while your boy in there robbing the Sheetz gas station. But guess who's going to jail with him? And then you're the worst of them all. I don't know what they're doing, but I'm just happy to be in the group. These are spooks. They're the big dogs. No, but you said don't change it now. And I'm not picking on you. I'm just saying to you, to all of you, don't hang around with people starting now that's getting into trouble already. You're not going to change when you get into high school, and later you're not going to all of a sudden one day say, I don't want to hang out with the person who's disrespectful. I don't want to hang out with the rule breaker. I don't want to hang out with the person who did something, but yet when he talks about already do something. Why y'all hanging out with them?
He moved school, that's why.
But you don't find nobody here. Good for him. God praise the Lord. Prayer changes things. Get people away from people like that. It doesn't change. These gentlemen that's here with you right now, if you hang around wrong people, you're going to get poor results. Now, you don't have to believe this. You can think I don't know what I'm talking about all you want to, but I'm going to tell you a fact. 5, I want you to remember this in general. My mom and my dad, my grandma used to tell me, if you have more friends than you can count on one hand, you got too many. There are not 5 people. So let me throw some word out there. The word says there's no greater gift that a man can give that he would lay down his life for his friend. You got 5 people right now who will jump out in front of a bullet for you? You got 5 people who will see a car coming and they'll push you out of the way and get hit by that car? So you ain't got no 5 friends. Oh, I got a whole bunch of friends. If you go out and ask them, the Bible says show yourself friendly. You talk to people, thousands of people will say, Almer Reddick is my best friend in the world. Because I show myself friendly, but I don't let them into my network if I know that they're not good for me. I'm not passing judgment on anybody, but I'm not allowing you to bring me down. You can soar with eagles, or you can hang down on the ground with the crows. So get yourself some people who are smarter than you, who are better athletes than you, who know more people than you, because what is that going to do? If they're smarter than you, they're going to help you be smarter. If they're a better athlete than you, they're going to help you be a better athlete. If they got a better network than you, they're going to help you get connected to more people. You don't see LeBron James going hanging down with the last guy on the bench with the Toronto Raptors, do you? LeBron is always hanging with other all-stars. You don't see J. Cole and Drake and all them hanging with Billy Bob John MC. Well, who's Billy Bob John MC? That's right. You don't know what it is. You know why? Because Drake ain't hanging with it. Because J. Cole ain't hanging with it. I'm hanging with people that can help me get higher. That's the rap game. We ain't talking about drugs. We ain't talking about gangs and all that type of stuff. But even drug dealers and gangbangers don't hang out with people who can't help them advance their cause. So I'm trying to tell you, coming back to this thing right here, this money you want, this home you want, this wife you want. Let me go ahead and hit you right now to this. And if your parents ain't letting you date, don't go back and say, well, Almer was talking to us about dating. I'm just telling you where life is going to come. Let me tell you something. There ain't no athletic build, long hair, light skin, fine little chick gonna be fooling with you and you on unemployment. You ain't got no job because you ain't that fine. You don't look that good that they gonna want to take care of you. You don't see Beyonce. Beyonce out here right now, she can have any dude she want. Yet she's with Jay-Z because Jay-Z was a billionaire before she was a billionaire. Rihanna was with Chris Brown. I ain't condone it and all that. Why she want to be with a dude who getting her eyes on swollen, beating her and all that stuff? Because she felt like he could elevate her. So how are you going to get this wife that you want when you hanging with rule breakers, disrespectful people, and people who doing something but they don't do something, but I don't know if they're doing that, but maybe they're doing something, maybe they're not doing something. How you going to get her? So let me tell you what's gonna happen with your life there. You can mark that off. You're gonna end up with some lady, and this is no disrespect to anybody, I'm just trying to tell you what it's gonna be. You're gonna end up with some lady who's trying to find her right man. She's tried multiple times, and you're gonna come into the picture because I'm trying to do right, I'm trying to get myself together. And now you're gonna inherit 4 or 5 kids off the rib. Y'all gonna be trying to get on the social service roles and all that type of stuff. We're gonna talk about what that looks like, what it means right now, moving forward. So you can cancel the wife. So let's talk about this home you want. I love it. 4 bedrooms, 3 bathrooms, 2 levels, brick and all that type of stuff. How much you think a house would cost like that right now? And I'm telling you, you gotta know these things because if you don't know, it's just a pipe dream, right? A list of objectives without a plan is just a dream. There's nothing wrong with a dream, but you gotta have some action behind it, okay? So this house that you want, how much is this 4 bedroom, 3 bath, brick home with 2 levels gonna cost? And let me preface this by saying, because I don't even want to get into where you want to live. I'm assuming, do any of you want to live outside of North Carolina, or is North Carolina good for you? We're gonna move from North Carolina, or we staying here?
I might move.
You might move. Okay, well, we move to another state. Where we talking about moving to?
Never mind.
Oh, so we stayed in North Carolina. Okay, where is it? Charlotte, Raleigh, or right around here? Raleigh, okay. Raleigh. Okay. How much is this 4 bedroom, 3.5 bath house gonna cost in Raleigh? What'd you think?
Good for that $100,000.
Go ahead. There's no wrong answer. Tell me. 20,000. Cool. I like it. Now you let that man, now leave him alone. That's his dream. Let that man tell his dream now. Don't tell me wrong. How much that house gonna cost? $200,000. My man, he done added a 0 to his. Cool. All right. What you say, Jay?
$300,000.
$300,000. He done said, it's like, y'all, they probably too young to watch The Price is Right. When they see that they going up, he's like, I'm gonna add a So he done added one of his, $300,000. 4 bedrooms, 3 baths, brick, 2 stories. Okay? In Raleigh. Would it surprise y'all to know that house right now costs between $550,000 and $650,000, depending on what part of Raleigh you live in? Now, the reason I know that for a fact, and you're like, oh, you just making stuff up to try to scare us. Nope, because guess what kind of house I live in Raleigh? It's a 4 bedroom, 3.5 bath, brick. And it ain't even right in Raleigh, it's in Zebulon. So I'm in Wake County, but I ain't even in Raleigh. And I just got my tax assessment the other day, and it was $622,000 was the tax assessment on the house. Now, let's rewind. How are you gonna get that house, that wife, and this salary when we can't stay in middle school? We can't stay in high school. I'm sorry, Mr. Sanjay.
I was gonna say we can't.
You can't. And I'm telling y'all this because I need y'all to stop playing. For real. I don't, you know what I'm saying? I'll support anybody and all that type of stuff, but don't come to me telling me I got caviar visions and I got sardine money. Because they're both small, stinky fish. But you can look that up. Caviar is a whole lot more expensive than sardines. So you got to start now. Now look, I raised my hand, and my dad will tell you, was I kicked out of school when I was in school? Yep. Did I get in school suspension? Yep. Did I fight when I was in school? Yep. Did I, it was called insubordination when I was in school. Did I have all that? Yep. But see, my whole thing was, because Baggrass, even though it was not as prejudiced and as racial when my dad was growing up, it was still very prejudiced and racial when I came through. And I was the type, you ain't gonna treat me different than you treat the white folks. I'm gonna demand your respect. I was the only black person in all of my classes when I was in high school. I was the only black person in my high school that was in the Beta Club, National Honor Society. Y'all still have those now? The National Honor Society is academic achievement, Beta Club is academic achievement. I was the only little fly in the milk bowl at Baggrass. When I went off to college, in most of my classes, I was the only black male. Now let me tell you about this white thing and how it comes back into the home. Here's the deal. When you leave this area, what you think is a nice home, and what you think is a beautiful young lady, and what you think is a lot of money is nothing. When I went out to school, I was the best athlete in this area. I was the smartest person in this area, and I came from what I thought was a good home. There was 3 bedrooms, it was brick. I had my first car when I was 15 years old. My daddy made me pay for part of it so I would appreciate it. And when my friends' cars were breaking down and they were walking, guess whose car never broke down? Because my dad told me, if your car break down, you're going to be walking. And see how many of your friends come and pick you up. So those things that I did when I was in school, yeah, I got in insubordination. The backdrop was because that white teacher was letting white kids do stuff that she wouldn't let me do. And I spoke up and I stood up. Got in trouble for it. Yeah, I got kicked out of school because the white boy called me a nigger on the bus and I tried to beat his brakes off of it. So the other white people would know, don't you might call somebody else a nigger, but you won't call me no nigger. So they're going to put me off the bus. Cool. I got a car. I can drive to school. You ain't done nothing to me. Nothing but a thing. So the key to that is you have to have a standard, young man, is what I'm trying to tell you. It might sound like I'm lecturing to you, but if you want these things, the beautiful thing about you is you can have all of them. You just got to go get it. You have to decide it's more cool to be the nerd in school. And I'm telling you right now, you can look at my build. It ain't like I wasn't playing no sports. Not like I'm looking like no geeking on nerd. I can still be the man on the basketball court and the man in the classroom. Why has it got to be one or the other? My dad and my brother would tell you, and this ain't something I'm glad Pastor ain't in here, but this whole dating thing, there weren't too many girls in Martin County, when I got my life as Beaufort County and Pitt County, that would say, because I dated them all. Because I was good in school, I was cool, I had a vision, I wasn't disrespecting them, I wasn't cussing, I wasn't smoking. Don't even start on this whole weed thing. Caveat. Weed is illegal. Raise your hand if you know weed is illegal in the state of North Carolina. Okay, let me just tell you that to help you if you don't get nothing else from there. I don't care how many people you see smoking it, in the state of North Carolina, it's illegal unless you got a medical condition that requires it. Okay, so let me rewind on that. So weed smoking, it ain't acceptable. I don't care what everybody's doing. So let's get this $100,000. First of all, this $100,000 is not going to get you to be able to afford that $300,000 house. Now, why do you think I'm saying that?
So you won't keep buying money like for smoking and stuff?
Well, no, but that happens, but no. Why else? Why do you think $100,000 is not enough to buy a $300,000 house?
Oh, yeah.
It's not enough money. Why? It's one particular word, and all the adults in the room know we're going into this season. It's called a season about right now. My man, that's what I'm talking about, taxes. So, on $100,000, depending on how many kids you got, blah, 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 what you're itemizing and standard deductions and all that type of stuff. But in general, what percent do you think you're paying on $100,000 in terms of taxes?
Half.
Not quite half, but 50% is your guess. What else? What other guesses you have?
25%.
About 25%. So on $100,000, depending on other things, you're going to be at about 20% tax. Now, that doesn't take out, you haven't taken out your medical, you got to have medical insurance. You have dental insurance. That comes out. If you're smart, you're also putting in something called 401ks. Anybody know what 401k is? Next time I come and talk to y'all, even if you ain't doing them with playing tic-tac-toe, I'm gonna need y'all to have some pencil and paper when you're here, because you should have some notes out here, because these are things in life that you should already be thinking about. 401k. 401k is a vehicle where you invest some money, and the company you work for, they put in something. Usually, for every dollar you put in, they put 50 cents. That's free money. How many people gonna give you free money? Right? So 401k is gonna come out. So if you're lucky out of this $100,000, you might bring home in your pocket you might bring home $50,000. If you're lucky. $50,000 round math, that's $4,000 a month, right? Because there's 12 months in a year. So 12 times 4 is what?
48.
Right. So close to 50,000, right? $4,000 a month. I'm telling you all this stuff now because you're probably like, man, why is he talking about this stuff? Because I want you to understand what it is that you say that you want and what you're going to have to do to achieve. So now you're bringing home $4,000 a month. Now, if we got this $300,000 home, most mortgages are for 30 years. 30 years is 360 months. So that's how much you have to pay every single month to stay in the house, right? But you have to pay interest on that house. And right now, if you're lucky, you can get an interest rate of around 8%. So now I'm doing this math real fast so you'll understand it. So on that $300,000 at 8% interest, that means that you're going to pay another around $24,000-ish just for the ability to be able to borrow for that house. You guys follow me thus far? So now $300,000 house is really worth $324,000. Point I'm trying to say to you there is out of this $4,000 that you have, you're gonna have to pay your mortgage, you're gonna have to pay your lights, you're gonna have to pay for gas if you got gas, you're gonna have to pay for your water, and you haven't eaten yet. And all y'all like you wanna eat. So you haven't eaten yet, you don't have this wife, and she's fine as y'all want her to be. You think she's not gonna get her nails done? She's not gonna get her hair done? And you don't have no kids yet. So I'm gonna go back to the very beginning and let me ask you guys again. Do you think $100,000 is a lot of money? When you think of it that way, it's not. There's a lot of people who live on a lot less than $100,000 every year. But what I want y'all to understand is these Nike shoes that you're wearing and the Nike gear that you're wearing and all that type of stuff that your parents are paying for, where do you think they're getting that money from?
Job.
They're getting it from work. Bless you.
Thank you.
So now what does that got to do? Now how am I coming full circle? So you don't need to be disrespecting your mom, your grandmama, your auntie, your uncles, these men here who help you, whoever helping you. You don't need to be disrespecting them. That teacher that's in school, that's showing an interest in you, you don't need to be disrespecting him or her. Because they don't have to help you because these are the things that you said that you want. So let me go back to that number 5. How many friends should you have? No more than how many? 5. The next thing I'm going to tell you is, and you'll be thinking about this when you get older, if you show me the 5 people you spend the most time around, I'll be able to tell you where you're going to be 20 to 25 years from now. It's an absolute fact. If you hanging out with thugs, people who think it's cool to get put out of school, a C is good enough to get by, that's what you're going to end up being in life. You ain't got to talk to me. Talk to these gentlemen here, right here. Can you attest to that? The people you hang out with help dictate who you are. Because if you hanging out with a bunch of people who millionaires, they're going to be talking about, hey, man, I'm trying to go down here to the store and, see how I can get some of this government cheese that they're giving out. And there ain't nothing wrong with that if you need it, but millionaires talk different. They act different. They think different. And they might be up there acting the fool and all that type of stuff, but let me just tell y'all something right now. The Baby, Little Baby, Drake, Jay-Z, they might be out there talking all that foolishness, Snoop Dogg and all that stuff, and they might smoke weed and all that. Let me tell you something. They are not hanging around people that's going to cause them to lose their money. The smart ones are. Same thing with athletes. There's a few, because there's always going to be people that make bad mistakes, like John Morant, who can't seem to get himself together. You ain't see LeBron go through none of that. But John Morant hanging around the wrong people. LeBron's like, yeah, I'm going to take my crew I went to high school with. White folks didn't like it. I'm going to roll with mine. You ain't going to tell me what to do. Oh, you ain't going to make it. You ain't going to make it. Now those guys he hang out with, now they're all multi-millionaires. Because LeBron said, if you're going to be in my clique, you're going to do what's right, or you can't be around me. This whole thing about the nerds, The smart people, and they're just, let me raise your hand if you've ever bought anything from Amazon or somebody has bought something from Amazon for you. You might as well raise your hand where you're doing that they have it, right? How about Walmart? You shop at Walmart? Okay. Laptops, computers, your iPhone, y'all had that? Well, what does all those companies have in common?
They all make money.
They all make money, and they were all started by nerds, and they were all started by white men. Now, what's that got to do with anything? Am I saying white is better than black? Nope. What I'm saying to you is the same people in school that you're looking at as nerds, oh, they're a nerd. Oh, I don't want to hang out with them, man. They're so uncool. You ain't careful, you're going to be working for them one day. In fact, my son, so we live in a neighborhood in Atlanta. So it was like our home in Atlanta was much larger even than our home in Atlanta, and it was in Raleigh, and it was more expensive. But we were one of only like 3 or 4 black people in that whole neighborhood, right? So my son befriended, and he was around your age. He befriended this dude who was from like the Middle East. He was Indian, but you know, like the Indians, it's like our complexion, right? He was Indian. So they were playing Monopoly one day. Y'all ever play Monopoly? You know what the game Monopoly is? Okay, they were playing Monopoly one day, and my son got the best of it. And they were kind of laughing. He was like, "Oh man, you made it on my property, and I got all these hotels. You got to pay me all your money." So my son won. And I'm not going to say his name because my brother's videotaping me. I'm not going to say his name. Let's just say his name was Paul. Paul got mad. And you know what Paul said to my son? Now, they lived in the same neighborhood, went to the same school, lived in the same kind of house. My son made straight A's. He made straight A's and all this type of stuff. You know what Paul said to my son? He said, "Well, that's okay. This is just a game. You're going to be working for me one day anyway." At 12 years old, he said that to my son. Now, why do you think Paul said that? Because in his mind, from watching the rap videos and what he sees on TV, Elijah's not going to want to go off to school. Elijah's not going to want to achieve anything. Elijah's going to be a consumer, not a builder, not a developer. Now, I want to tell you this. It's not about you guys being perfect. It's not about you guys having all the answers. But because you're not perfect, you don't have all the answers, listen to somebody who can help you. Jaden, if you have a problem, I know your grandparents and stuff care about you. You got a family who cares about you. And I'm sure you young men do too. And I'm not here to be no motivation, because you're going to walk right out of here and you can go right back to hanging with your same people. But I hope something that I say is going to stick with you, and you're going to be like, that dude that was standing in front of me, him and his father told me about how he can make it. Because let me say this, and then I'm going to be done, and I'm going to open it up for questions for you. You can ask me anything you want to ask. But let me tell you this. Let me tell you the shame of where we are as African Americans right now, especially men. If I pull up beside one more car, and my brothers here can tell me, you can attest to this. If I pull up beside one more car, whether it's a nice car or whether it's falling apart or whatever, and I look over there and see some long dreadhead dude with the weed pouring out the side of the windows with some tint, and she pull up to the Sheetz gas station or whatever, she's driving. She gets out of the car, put the gas, while he's sitting in there being cool, whatever, with his pants sagging down to here or whatever, I'm gonna scream. African American males are just sitting back now doing nothing. I feel sorry for these young women right now, because the level and expectation that we have of each other is nothing. My father, whose father died at 15 years old, who could have given up and lost everything, had the work ethic. He tapped into people who could help him to not only save that farm when other people were freely selling it. He not only saved it, but he went and bought more land and built more buildings on it and had livestock. People thought we were rich, so much so when I went to school, I thought we were rich because there were cows walking around out there. People like, well, you almost got money, you got cows. I was like, okay, we must have money. We got cows. I went to school one day, they had this thing you used to fill out to say how much money your parents make, and they had under 20,000, 20, 25. The top thing was 80,000. They said 80,000 plus. So since I was told we were rich, we got cows, we went on vacation every year, guess which box I checked? 80 plus. We were having dinner one night, and I was talking about that, hey, how's school going, whatever, da. I said, yeah, we had to fill out this form today about how much you make, and da. And my dad, because first of all, he don't like to talk about your money, but people don't let anybody know your business, right? And he said, which box you check? I said, I checked the house box, and my dad, he was like, well, what box was that? I was like, it was like 80,000 plus. Now my dad, he's a sailor. He told you cuss. He tried not to cuss until the sailor was in it. But you kind of got it. He said, son, what the blink is wrong with you? We don't make no 80,000 a year. I'm just talking about we got a new car. Just talking about new trucks and new cars that we have now. How do we not make it? He's like, I don't make it. Your mom and I together don't make no $80,000 a year. But I thought we had money, right? But my father at that time, he always says, and my brother and I laugh about it, but there's certain things you young men should hold on to. I'm trying to tell you. I'm being real with you. One of the things that's always in my mind is my dad always says, take what you got and work with it. That may seem like a small thing, but my dad's like, if you ain't got but 5,000, don't wait till you get 50. Well, I ain't gonna do nothing until I get 50. He's like, take that 5, and maybe 5 will become 10, 10 will become 15, and maybe you'll get to 50. Now, my father was telling me all of this or whatever, but I realized a lot of things that old folks told you was plagiarized from the Bible. Y'all know what plagiarism means? That means stolen, right? What my dad and his grandma, my grandma used to tell me, that is in the Bible. Y'all know the story of the talents in the Bible? One person had 1 talent, one person had 5, one person had 10 talents in the Bible, and the person at 10, they worked hard and made more. The person that had 5, they worked hard and made more. Guess what the person with 1 talent did? Hid it, buried it. I ain't got much, so I'm gonna bury this. You know what the master did when he came back? Oh, well, since you didn't take what you had and did nothing with it, I'm gonna take that and give it to the other people. So right now, if you're not a straight A student, don't say, well, I'm gonna go from making C's to making A's. That may not be realistic, but go from C's to B minuses. Then when you get to B minus, get to B plus. Then get to A. But don't just say I'm a C student and I'm gonna stay there. I'm hanging around with the wrong dudes, so I'm gonna stay there. Because I'm gonna tell you something, they don't care about you. Now I want you to be honest with me. If you've ever gotten in trouble, even if I got put out of school, teacher saw you talking or whatever, tell me one time, I want you to stand up and tell the story of when you was in trouble for doing something and one of your friends ran in like, oh, Miss Jones, it wasn't Jaden, it was me, I did it. Jaden, you go ahead. I'm taking the blame for you. When does that ever happen? They ain't going to. They're going to laugh at you most of the time, but you're going to say one time, tell me the story. When you did something wrong. Oh, you never, I think you said one time. Okay. It ain't going to happen. So why do you care what these people think when they don't care nothing about you? They want to see you get in trouble. It's funny to them. So if my father, who's born basically a generation and a half after slavery, can take over a farm that was in debt, by the way, and save it and build upon it. We had combines. Like, that's what I thought was my dad's fault. I thought we was rich. We're black folks going around in combines. I'm driving combines and tractors when I'm this little. I don't know no different. So what I'm saying to you all is then why, and this is what I'm trying to get you all to understand about where we are as African-American males and the level being so low. Why is it at 15, when he had every reason to give up, he had nothing, he can build. Now you got 20, 23, 24, 25, 26, 30-year-old dudes with the dreads and the smoking of the weed and all that, riding around in the car with the girl. It's the girl's car. Living in the girl's house. Living out the girl's money. How did we go from that when he had every reason to give up to where we are now? Pants sagging down here and all this stuff. Wear what you want to wear, but I'm just saying, at least be able to back it up, to stand for something. You guys, they expect so little of you. A yes sir, no sir, yes ma'am, no ma'am, showing up on time, being respectful, and being accounted for, the world will be yours. How do I know that? Because my son. Now I'm wearing this shirt, and I'm gonna end with this. Last time I was here talking to you, life was never perfect, but my life was going along the way you would expect it to go. You go to work every day, you have your successes, right? On vacation. We could take vacations every year. We were in Dubai. So you guys might have heard the rappers talking about Dubai, but Dubai is over on the other side of the world where real people have money, oil money comes from. We're in Dubai, and we get a phone call that all parents, like, it's their worst nightmare to have. We got a phone call that our son was killed in a car accident. Right? Now, I had just talked to you guys not long before that, and you weren't here, Jaden, but you two were here. I just talked to you about the life, and I even mentioned my son and how he went to school and did all this type of stuff. And my son, for the most part, he hung out with the right people, not perfect, and all that type of stuff. But see, even in this, wasn't his fault, the accident, but I had told my son, the reason you have a car is not to floss, is you don't ride around with other people. This whole riding around with a whole bunch of people and stuff, when y'all get cars, if you get one friend that's truly your friend, you can roll with them, but you don't even have a whole bunch of people in your car. Okay? But I told him, don't ride around with other people because you got your own vehicle. And for God's sakes, if you even think somebody was smoking weed or drinking, don't get in the car with them or know the people you get in the car with. But he had a friend whose girlfriend, and she was a star athlete at North Carolina Central on the basketball team. Great student, was going to law school. My son's friend was at Chapel Hill just like he was. Had played ball at Chapel Hill. So you think, what can go wrong? We all going to this campus party together. It ain't like we going out to no club. What could go wrong? Well, his friend's girlfriend, they got into an argument. My son don't know what's going on. He don't know what's happening or whatever. So he gets in the car, and this girl is driving 113 miles an hour in a 45. 113 where you're supposed to be driving 45. Loses control of the car. Car flips over multiple times. There was 4 people in the car. Guess who's the only person that didn't survive? My son. Now, why am I telling you this? To bring you down, woe is me, and all that type of stuff. Should he have not gotten in the car or whatever? That's debatable, or what have you, whether or not he should have gotten in the car. He had a car of his own. That was an option to him. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with his friend, Rock, that he was riding with. But now you don't really know this girl who's driving the vehicle. And you definitely don't know her friend. So now, 22 years old, when my son was a senior, had his whole life in front of him, and we planned all this stuff out. The reason I asked you to write this stuff down is we talked about this all the time when I was him. How much money you want to make? Where do you want to live? What kind of car do you want to drive? What type of, you got to program it in your mind. My father will tell you, not long after that time when I told him we made over $80,000, he thought I was crazy. I used to tell my dad all the time, Dad, when I graduate from high school, I'm going to college. I'm going to play basketball. After I play basketball in college, I'm going to play professionally. After I play professionally, I'm going to get married. I'm going to marry a light-skinned woman with long hair. I'm going to get me a brick house. I'm going to drive a Lamborghini. And after I'm done with basketball, I'm going to carry a briefcase and wear a suit every day. This is from a country boy, I'm born right here in this area, grew up working in tobacco and all that type of stuff. My dad told me, son, don't worry about being rich. Just have a good job and have a sustained life. He wasn't trying to hold me back, but he was just telling me what he knew. I told my father that when I was younger than you guys. And my father's here, and my brother's here, and some of these other men who know me. So this is what I want to leave you with. You don't have to listen to me, but I'm from the same community you are. God don't care any more about you than he does about me. So if I can do it, you can do it. So let's run down the list. I graduated from high school at the top of my class, and I went on to UNC Chapel Hill, which you guys are going to be going in a couple of weeks. I'm on boards and stuff there to a basketball game, right? I went there, and I played basketball. I had the opportunity to play overseas until I got an injury. I didn't buy a Lamborghini, so I'm on church ground, I ain't gonna lie. But I bought a Lotus, and it was jet black, and she was smooth. You can Google it. A Lotus looks just like a Lamborghini. My dad had a party in front of the house. He's like, you got to move that thing out in front of the house because the white neighbors were driving by. They were stopping. Like, what in the world is your son doing out there with a car like that? But I had a Lotus. And I won't tell you how many light-skinned women with long hair I had to date and try out for the team before I married one. But my wife, light skin with long hair, we live in a 4-size brick home. I wear a suit to work every day, and I carry a briefcase. Now, the reason I was able to do this is not because I'm special. I'm not bragging. It was first because of the grace of God. But I also, now, during that time, that I have friends who was doing stuff, but they ain't never do nothing, and they kind of told me they ain't do nothing. Did I have some of them friends? And guess what? They got kicked to the curb. Did I have the ones who was doing stuff that they weren't supposed to be doing and always getting kicked out of school? Yep. I had to get rid of them. And Lord knows I had the ones that was disrespectful. I wouldn't be where I am if I hung out with them. The last question I have, and now I'm done, is this. How many millionaires do you know personally? Now, I wrote $100,000. This is important. So I want to write it out. How do you write $1 million, Jaden?
Money sign.
Yep.
1, comma, 0, 0, 0, comma, 0, 0, 0.
Yep. Let me just add this to make it look better. That's the dot right there. There ain't no 6 there, but just look longer, right? That's a nice number. You hear comma, you're rapping talking about $1 million a lot, right? So who would agree, adults included, who would agree that $1 million is a lot of money? I agree with that. It's a lot of money. How many millionaires do you know personally? I'm gonna go around the room and come back to y'all. Do you know any millionaires personally? Okay. How many do you know?
Personally,
Uh-huh.
about 4.
About 4. Are they right here in this community, or did they grow up around in this area?
They grew up in
Okay, so 4. All right. How about you?
You might say 4.
4. Okay. How about you? You don't know any? Okay. 3. Daddy?
About 5 or 6, somewhere around
Okay. Benji?
About 3 or 4.
4. How about you?
9.
Okay, how about you? How about you? Okay, so we got plus 0 plus 0 plus 0. All right, help me do the math. So 4 plus 4 is 8, plus 3 is 11, plus 6 is 17, 7 is 21. So 21 millionaires. 21. Between all the people we know in the room here, right? Do you guys want to know how many millionaires I know personally? Take a guess. 5? What would you say? 8? What you think?
About 25, 30.
Right around? I personally know over 100 millionaires. Now, part of that has to do with this other thing I told you about. And 401k is something we'll talk about for another day, right? It compounding interest and all that type of stuff. That's what a lot of millionaires. Most millionaires don't look like Drake and the Baby, I can tell you that. They're not walking around dripping. Most of the time, the wealthiest people in the world look like they don't have nothing that you can see, but they own a lot of real estate. Now, what's my point in saying this to you guys? If these country guys right here, between us, we all country folk, right? We know 121 millionaires. How many of you are going to say that you know by the time you get to be our age? And if you don't take what you're doing now seriously, and these opportunities you have through B.A.M. seriously, you won't. When you guys are going, because I'm on a number of boards at Chapel Hill, when you go, and I know a lot of people, I like Duke, I like Sam, I like Carolina. Don't matter where you're going. Take advantage of this opportunity where you're going to be on that campus. And look at those people walking around there and envisioning yourself at a school somewhere like that. I don't care where it is, A&T, Central, whatever it is. But you got to get out of the mentality where you are right now. Is that fair enough? Is that cool? Go home, and your homework for me is to really say how much money you want to make, where do you want to live, and what type of car you want to drive, and what type of life you want to have for yourself in the next 10 years. And that might seem like a lot, but guess what? You all gonna be in your 20s 10 years from now. So, I'm done, and I will tell you all something that should make you feel better in your network. You can all say now that you do know a millionaire because I'm a millionaire several times over. But it's because I worked hard, I invested, and I had a good network. But you can see me driving around here in a Lamborghini. Well, I might get a Lamborghini. I don't know, down the road. But you all can do it too. All right? So I'm done. I'm going to give you this. We had these made up for our son. You can either wear it or just put it on your dresser because I wanted to be a reminder to you. When my son was killed, he was wearing a t-shirt that said, "Trust God." And he was praying at the time that he was killed. He was on the phone with one of his friends praying because he realized he made a mistake and got in the car with the wrong person. He was actually on the phone with his friend praying right before impact, and he was wearing a t-shirt that said, "Trust God." So even in that, we believe that he's in paradise. He went the right way. So I want you to always look at that wristband and remember that my son made a bad decision on that night. It was not the right decision to get in the car with that young lady because it also turns out that she had been drinking and smoking weed. So that's how quickly your life can change, right? So that's it. Thank you for listening. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. All right, cut that mess off, man.